Hello, everyone. Hey, happy Wednesday. I am so excited to talk about Cold Call Mastery 101. But before we kind of get into this, I get a lot of comments just in the DMs about cold calling. How do you do a cold call? How are you approaching self-storage owners in your business today? How do I even start when I'm really, really nervous? And I always like to say, you guys, in life, there are three, maybe more, a couple things that people are so scared to death about. And number one is it's going on a blind date, which is hilarious because you don't know the person. Number two, it's public speaking, getting on stage and speaking in front of other people. And then number three is putting yourself out there and starting a business. Let's just say it how it is, right? So I want to kind of like walk you guys through, how we can get started with cold calling and not making it one of those biggest resistance in your brain, right? How do we do it? How do we do it successfully? I always, you guys, when I cold call, I'm still nervous to this day. Like it's just something that, it's like butterflies in your stomach. People want to be a part of something. They don't want to be yelled at. They want people to like you. And in cold calling, we got to get over that. We are in storage. What I love about doing storage cold calls and talking with owners is that actually people do like talking with you. They have a business baby. Like their storage facility is their business baby. And they actually look forward to talking to other people about self-storage and how they got into the game. And so it really is a building a relationships. And I love this phrase that people talk about. It is long-term relationships with long-term people. Real estate, commercial real estate is a long-term game, right? We're building relationships. We're nurturing them. And then from there, we're taking it a step further and possibly buying either their facility or their business. So we're going to kind of we're going to get into this. We're going to go into the meat and potatoes of cold call mastery and how to cold call storage owners and unlock hidden deals. And so one of my friends, Alex, came up with this phrase and I love it. It makes me actually laugh and smile. So it's actually smile and dial, friends, right? Cold calling equals cash flow. Money likes speed. And it's very, very true in nurturing relationships. And so you guys, a few years ago, I was reflecting on this the other day. I was pregnant, you guys, and I was clueless and I was scared out of my mind on my first self-storage. Like I went to my first self-storage conference. I didn't even know the word acquisition. I had no idea. But I did know that I wanted to go out there and buy a self-storage business that could cash flow and then can count as commercial real estate. And how you do this and what a lot of people talk about in conferences as well as in different types of mentorships is, okay, there's a couple ways, right, that we can buy storage facilities. We can buy storage facilities that are on market with brokers, building relationships with brokers and telling them exactly what we want to purchase. And then the other method is, okay, we can buy them off market. And normally off market deals, you can directly go to the self-storage owner. You can negotiate it. You can open up seller financing. There is a lot of opportunities in the off market world. And the different ways that we can actually get off market deals is direct. It's driving for dollars, which is, I always say to my students, like, I love driving for dollars. We have a storage school student that has 2 facilities in Texas that he drove an hour and a half to meet the owner. And now he is under contract on the first facility. And then he went over and talked to the neighbor facility. Now he has 2 facilities under contract because he made the effort to stop in, take the owner to lunch, talk with him, build a relationship. He is a firefighter and he was able to come to a common ground, right? A win-win situation for both. So I wanted to break down that these are the ways that we can kind of buy, our first facility. But really what I'm going to kind of talk to you guys today is, we're going to go through, it's called the CALL framework, CALL. These are the exact 4 steps that I use to talk to storage owners. I've trained my acquisition managers and virtual assistants to get real numbers and to negotiate. And so that is how we are buying facilities right now, is that cold calling, even though, yes, it is scary, if you do it right, you can build relationships faster. And so direct mail is great. I still send out a couple direct mail pieces, but it is a little bit pricey. And then number 2, there's only a 2 to 3% ratio of them calling you back, right? And in cold calling, we actually have a lot, actually a huge, larger ratio that people will answer the phone, talk to you, and you can build that relationship right away versus wait, right? So number 1, we're going to kind of go over is the secret. Number 1 is starting with C, which is connection, right? So I always say, like, we always first connect with people. Most people freeze up because they are like, hey, I'm bothering an owner. I'm cold calling a human. I'm so nervous. Like, I want to sound exactly like the script. I want a script. I want to say that is BS. We do not need a script. I will give you guys one at the very end of this training as hey, this is a great way to go through, hey, how to connect, how to go through objections, and then also how to follow up and close. But I want you to use this not verbatim, but I want to put it into your own words so that you feel human and that you can actually connect on a deeper level. And so I think that this is something that goes even further. But how I like to approach a cold call, you guys, and I want you to think about this. We are not selling Cutco. We are not selling that. We are not calling them and saying, hey, will you give me money to buy X, right? We are actually calling and saying, hey, I have an opportunity for you. Would you ever consider an offer on your storage facility? You're giving them money. And so I love this mindset shift because it's all about you calling and getting the numbers up. And eventually someone's going to say, yeah, I want an offer. Like, I take offers. I'm a storage owner. I get calls, multiple calls every single week. I would love to take a call because I want offers. I love money. Right? And so this is something that is important, is like right now, you guys, from right now in summer all the way up to Labor Day, a lot of people put on the brakes, right? They cool it down. They're not calling owners, and owners are there still running their business, still wanting to make money and still wanting offers. And so my students right now are pushing. It is buy time. So they are cold calling. They are making deals with owners right now while most people sit back and wait for either, September to come or the new year. That is not how you do deals. So I do want to say this is an example, you guys. There's multiple examples that I give to my storage school students in our storage school vault. I actually have a whole lesson on this, and in addition to like 5 different scripts and templates. But I always just say, who I am really fast. What am I like? Who I am, who I'm with, and then what do I want, right? If we can convey that within 30 seconds, that sets us up for success. And so this is something that I've been using, recently, but I always just, as an example, say, hi, hey, John, are you the owner of X, Y, and Z storage? Confirm he's the owner. And she's like, yep. And I'm like, oh, hey, I've been wanting, I know this call might be out of the blue. I've been looking on Google Maps, and I have a couple facilities in this area. I wanted to see, would you ever consider an offer on your storage facility? And if he says no, that's totally fine. Then we can actually open it up for connection and say, oh, not a problem at all. We've been looking for 6 months, and this is, I really did like your placement and the location of where your facility is. Why did you guys decide to buy this location? Or why did you guys decide to build it? And so people love to talk about themselves. And so that opens up, even though he doesn't want to, we wouldn't consider an offer right now, you're learning about the industry, you're building a connection with him, because maybe at some point down the line, he's going to want to sell and exit, and he's going to hopefully think of you. That's the whole goal, right? And so when people tell you their story, you guys, this is just ammo. You are collecting, you're discovering about them, right? And you're going to be able to follow up with more context, more connection with them as a human being and as a fellow, right? Like storage or business owner. Okay. So that is one way that I like to kind of open it up. I will also, before calling, I will look at the storage facility. Hopefully it is a mom and pop way on how I teach people how to find these hidden gems. If you haven't, definitely go watch that webinar. It's incredible. Or YouTube video. But what I like to do is I'll find like a Dollar General, or I'll find, hey, the local baseball team just won the championship game, right? I just type in Google, it's like, what's current event in, I don't know, some city that I'm looking at. And normally with that information, what I can do is I can start that conversation and build that into it and just say, hi, John, I saw your X, Y, and Z Main Street storage, and I really liked the green doors. And I saw, that you guys might be open. You guys maybe have owned it for 10 years, and you guys might be open to consider an offer, right? Double negative, question mark. Let them talk. Just be silent. That's the key here. And so if they, are caught off guard, like, I haven't really been considering it. And then you can use that ammo and you can say, not a problem at all. I just was curious, I'm sure other storage owners in the area, because I know you guys talk, I'm sure, about supply and demand. Do you by chance know any other storage owner that might be open to selling, in the next year? And normally they'll say, maybe yes or maybe no. But I have had so many yeses. Oh yeah, maybe I've got a friend down the line. He's owned it for 12 years. His name is John. Here's his number. And that is now another lead, right? You're just gathering information in the back pocket. And then the next question, hey, thanks so much. That's so helpful. I really, really appreciate it. I'm just curious, how is business right now in this market? How is occupancy, right? Are you guys full? I always like to kind of compliment and hear a little bit more about that market, because he could be like, nah, actually, I'm only 50% full. This market's awful because we had a new storage facility built a mile away, and that has been really affecting me, right? So now he's starting to talk about, business, and people love talking about their business and themselves. So you keep that conversation going. And then at the very end, even though he said, I wouldn't consider an offer in the beginning, at the very end, you say, hey, I really have enjoyed this conversation. I've learned so much about the storage industry. Thank you. I really feel grateful. Would you be open to giving me your email address? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a little email bio about who I am and, me as a business owner and my family. Is that something that I can do? And he bet you who says yes. You know what I mean? He'll give you your email address. Now you have arsenal. Now you've got more, right? You've got more arsenal in your portfolio or in your back pocket, right? To use. Now you're going to send him a bio, and now you're going to follow up with him. Now you've got a relationship that you're definitely going to call in the next 6 weeks and just say, hey, just wanted to see if you heard about the baseball team that won. How is it? How's business going? Remember me, right? So this is how it gets to be easy. It can be natural. It can be easy. So I wanted just to open this up and kind of just do a little quick cold call demo for you guys. But these are the questions I like to ask. And that is secret number 1, you guys, in the first connection, in the first call. Secret number 2, you guys, in the call framework is A, stands for ask for an offer. Not for a sale, ask for if they would consider an offer, not a sale. Okay. I'm going to say this one more time. Hopefully you'll get this. Do not ask for a sale. Ask them if they would consider an offer. So the second part of the framework, owners hate feeling that pressure of hey, would you sell your facility? It kind of just is intrusive a little bit. You go straight for, just like in a relationship, you got to date the person before you're hey, we're married, right? Same concept. So they have, when I say, would you ever consider an offer? Now people love money. I always say yes. Yeah, I'd love to look at an offer. So frame your call as you're gathering just information for their offer. A lot of times people will just say, I want an offer, and they're kind of fishing around for, a price. Others are, hey, I actually just talked with my wife the other day, and, we finally came to the realization that I think it's time to sell. And so that is a big piece, is you're framing it and you're catching them at the right time. I always like to say in the kind of my script, and what I'm going to give you guys at the end is I'm not a broker. I'm not a big REIT. My husband and I, or my partner and I, are buying for ourselves and our team. And I'd love to look at your facility and give you an offer on that. Is that something you would consider? And if they say, yeah, absolutely. Now you positioned yourself that you are a mom and pop owner just like them. And now they're going to, hopefully want to help you. In the case of my storage school student, he's a firefighter. He has a young family, and he wants to get into storage. He wants to buy his facility. He related to this guy who wants to retire. And, he positioned himself as the hero, right? That can come in, and he wants to be like him, right? Lots of business owners love to mentor others. And I think that is something that we undervalue, especially as mom and pop owners that want to buy their first facility. We have a competitive advantage, right? To relate to them, and not brokers, right? Because brokers call them all day long and sometimes bug them, right? We are different. We are completely different. So position yourself in that way, and then start talking about it. So always talk about the offer, and then we can kind of segue into something else. I have had multiple owners, I'm just trying to think of that say, hey, I'm not ready to sell. Absolutely no. And I will get their email address, and I will follow up with them, and they'll still say no. And then 2 months later, they'll give me a call, and they're like, hey, my husband actually fell ill. He fell the other day. We're in the hospital. And so I think it is actually a good time to talk about what would it look like to sell right now? What offer can you give us? So people always come back, and I'm telling you right now is that if you send them a bio about you and who you are with a family photo, like make it personable, make it stand out. They will take that and they're going to put it into their little file. Storage facilities that we have bought, we always ask, we're like, hey, where's the owner's file with all the offers and all the letters? They will take this, print it out, and then put it into their file to keep at when a time is convenient. They will go through it. And normally the person who has been following up and calling or stands out and is relatable will be the one that they will pull first to give a call, right? That's just a little bit of a tip from me. And so secret number, let's see here, 3, okay, which is an L, learn their story. So this is just ammo, right? We're still continuing to learn their story. It's their favorite part. Owners love to talk about themselves, how they started in the self-storage industry, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and how it's changed. And so a couple just questions I just want you guys to see is what you can ask them, and you will get this in the script at the very end. I will give this to you, so don't worry about it if you don't have a pen or pencil. But how long have you owned your storage facility? Very simple question. But did you build it yourself or did you buy it? Why did you buy it in this location? Why did you like this location? How was it the first year when you bought your facility? Tell me about it. What have you learned being a storage owner, right? Has anything changed? If you could change anything with a wand, what would it be? I normally don't ask that, but there is some people that ask that question and they get a lot of answers. But do you live nearby or do you actually manage the storage facility yourself? That's a great question, right? What is it like being is it a storage manager here? And then another question that I love to talk about is, are you marketing? Are you out there marketing? How do your customers find you, right? And that is a big question on how full, right, they're going to be. And a lot of people, they're like, yep, I am the cheapest in town and people come because I'm on this highway and I've been here for 20 years. You get to know a little bit more of their story so that you get to as an investor, put this puzzle piece together to say yes, no, or your offer number. So definitely making sure that you gather their story. And then another big thing is, secret number 4 is another L for call, right? Then learn their numbers. So that's the whole point is if you have built this relationship up, you can start asking for numbers so that you can see, can you actually give them an offer? Sometimes this happens in the first call. And sometimes this happens in the second or the third call. It depends on, I want you guys to feel this out. The goal is to get some numbers just so that you can take your pencil and start underwriting. But sometimes it takes a couple of calls in that like dating, nurturing of a relationship to actually make that happen. But this is kind of what I say is like owners like to hide their price sometimes, but we need to ask it. And this is a question that I learned the hard way multiple times, but being able to come out and just say, hey, I know you're a business owner, just like myself, and I know you probably have a price in mind. Do you have a price in mind? Let them talk. Or I might frame it in a way of saying like, hey, I don't want to waste your time. I want to get, straight. I'm going to be honest with you. Do you have an offer price in mind that you've been thinking about? If you sold the storage facility. And then another question I like to ask is, if you're talking to other people, what are offers other people have given you? I just would like to know this number so that I can take it back and I can give you a fair offer and not give you a lowball offer. My goal today is not to give you a lowball offer, but to give you a fair offer that you would say like it would be a win-win situation. So it's really important for us to try to get a number. I did this not the right way, and I worked a storage deal for probably, I don't know, 3 months. And finally, we put together an offer, and he looked at it and just looked at me and was like, "You're way out. Like I want 3.2 million for it, and his facility was really worth only 2 point." And I'm like, I asked you 5 times, like, do you have a number? And he said no. But I should have asked it in multiple different ways. And so that is something that, we never want to talk apples to oranges. We want to make sure we're in that same striking field so that we can not waste anyone's time, right? So definitely make sure you learn their numbers. And the 3 to 4 things that we need to gather as a storage investor in order to make them an offer is number 1, we need their unit mix and their current prices. That is like so important. Number 2 is we need their annual gross income for 2024 or the year prior, right? Normally they've done taxes. Normally they know this number and they will give it to you. Sometimes they will not. They'll hold it close to your chest. If they don't know that number, I always like to say, well, hey, what last month? What was your gross total income. Don't not with any expenses. Just what did you collect total in your bank account for the month of June? Sometimes most owners should know this, right? The third thing that we really want is a profit and loss report from 2024, the year prior. And then the fourth thing that we want is an occupancy report. We need to know in each month, how full were they, right? Sometimes an occupancy report won't, if they are just taking notes on a yellow pad, this could be harder to get. And if this is the case, I tell my storage school students, we're going to go through line item by line item with their unit mix. We're going to write it down. How many units total? How many are occupied? How many are unoccupied? That is the same principle. Okay. It's a little bit more work, more time intensive, but you get the same results that then you can take those numbers and reverse engineer to understand what is that facility worth today. Okay. So you guys, those are the four main things that are really important to get in order to underwrite that storage facility and get the right number. An objection sometimes that people will have is saying, well, I don't want to give you that. Just give me an offer, right? And I always say as the objection, like, hey, Mr. Owner, like, yeah, I would love to give you an offer, but I really don't know a lot about it. And I need these numbers in order for me to give you a fair offer. And it would be me shooting you, in the foot by giving you an offer that might not make sense. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to waste anyone's time. Are you open to giving me your unit mix? Then you've went through why it would be a waste of time. And now they understand that they need to give it to you. So that is really, really important to go through that. So I want to just I always say, be yourself, smile and dial. Build relationships. That is the whole goal. Sometimes you get, to get the numbers on first call. Sometimes you get numbers on the fourth call. It can take a while to build a relationship. And so you don't want to be abrasive. You don't want to be pushy. You want to build that relationship naturally and feel it out. I will give you guys an awesome cheat sheet for people who love cheat sheets, who need just something, not a blank sheet of paper, but something to guide them through, right? So I'm just going to summarize this, put a nice little bow on this, but the call framework in a recapped way is, I love it. You can always remember this. It just spells call. The call storage framework is number C equals connect. So smile and dial, be human, have open conversations, right? A stands for ask for an offer, not a sale. So ask for an offer, not a sale. And then letter L is learn their story, right? We are building trust. We are discovering who they are so that we can take these little bits of information and in our follow-up, really build that relationship further with them so that they think of you when they sell, right? Ask about their business. Ask about, how they got started and what they like the best in self-storage, right? The last L, you guys, is learn their numbers. So we need to learn their numbers so that we can give them a competitive win-win offer. That is huge. We're not here to chase unicorn prices, which is what I say in the storage school is we're not here to have owners that want ridiculous prices and waste people's time. We're here to trying to get a no up front so that we can have an objection and actually walk through why we need certain things in order to give them a fair win-win offer. Okay, so I always say cold calling equals cash flow, and it is. You guys, I know it doesn't feel like it. It can be really scary, and I still get nervous. I will actually warm up, you guys, and call 3 brokers because they love talking to you. They want to make a sale. They want to talk to you, right? I will warm up and then I start my cold call, my 2 hours of cold calling, right? But cold calls will equal money, right? And speed equals money. Yes, the reason why most people don't buy storage facilities and do this is because it's hard. And it's true. It can be. But if you think about it as a game, it's a puzzle piece of building relationships, it becomes more fun. And that's what I love about it is I get to learn about other people. I get to learn about cities and states that I've never in my life heard of. And it's wild. And then you're like, wow, it's waitlisted everywhere. People in the middle of this Missouri, little small town, have 5 facilities that are completely waitlisted at a square foot. like, which is unheard of. Like, it's amazing. So I think that is, if you stay curious and you stay energetic, they want to feed off your energy. People will not yell at you if you are a happy, blessed person. And that's what I like to say. So come with the energy, smile and dial, stand up. And I always like to say is it only takes one person to say yes to, hey, I would consider an offer, to making a deal happen, to getting your first facility. So the return on your cost of your energy is huge. And if people knew that, they would come in and they would learn this skill set, because this is a skill set that will feed you and your family for a lifetime. And this is something that you can take, not only buy it yourself, you can take it to someone else and say, hey, I've got a great deal that I negotiated straight from the source. Do you want a partner? Come in as a money partner, and then you can come in into a storage deal with little to none of your own money. That's an infinite returns. Like, yes, this skill set is so important. You will set yourself up for life if you can get good at this and practice it and bring an opportunity to the table, such as myself or to someone else, and partner. Okay. So I'm very bullish when it comes to learning how to cold call and how to get uncomfortable, because buying that one facility will definitely change you and your family's life forever. So if you guys want this exact script and this cheat sheet, I made this for you. I'm really excited. It's brand new. It's something that I haven't shared with anyone yet. It is still in a Word format. It's not beautiful, but I would love to send this to you. So it's number one, it is a cold calling script that I want you guys to form into your own words, right? It's just a template. And then I've got a 4-page cold calling mastery cheat sheet that will really help you kind of walk through, okay, here's the call framework. Here is questions that you can ask an owner in your own words whenever you want. And I always like to keep the cheat sheet in front of me, so when I call, I don't feel nervous. I have something to fall back on in case, right? So if you want this, just DM me or send me a text message, you guys, with the word script, your name, and where you heard this, like on Facebook Live or on a podcast, and to the number 916-579-7209, and I will send that directly to you. So again, just DM me or send me a text message with the name script to 916-579-7209. Have a wonderful, blessed day. And then if you guys use any of this and it works, let me know. I want to help you out. I want to support the people that are actually putting in the effort, because I love action takers. So have a wonderful, blessed day, and I will talk to you soon.